Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Jacqueline. What can you expect on this channel? You can expect craft videos. I'm going strong. I've been going almost 3 months now here on YouTube. Absolutely loving it. And the other thing that you can expect is some inspirational videos or how-tos. And today's video is about doing a craft show because spring, summer, and the whole fall season right through Christmas is upon us. And I just want to give you some tips. What kind of experience do I have? Well, I've been a crafter for eons, okay, and I've done the craft shows all over the place. I used to own a very large consignment store. Also, I have done estate sales. I've done the garage sales, the yard sales, the barn sales. I've done it quite a bit, to be honest with you. I've also had garage sales that have totaled $3,000 each. I've had 3 of those. So I might know a little bit about what I'm talking about. If you can take at least 50% of my ideas today, you'll be going strong. What I first want to tell you is you've got to do the homework, girls. You gotta do the homework, especially if you have a craft show you're considering which is out of town. You need, with the high cost of gas, or even if the gas cost isn't high, you still have to figure out how much it's going to cost you to get down the road and back, especially if you have to take a truck or you're pulling a trailer or something like that that costs gas. Get a paper and pencil out, do some math. If you had to hire somebody to help you get all set up, or maybe you've just, your neighbors have helped, your children have helped, you should probably tip them or give them something a little special for helping you go off on your adventure that you decided to do. And then, of course, there's the supplies like your invoice. Maybe you had to buy a square machine. Maybe you have cost electronically for gaining money that you need to think about. By the way, I would not advise charging your customer any kind of fee on credit cards. We want the customer to be extremely happy and not have any extra cost. We just need to be thankful that they came to your booth and decided whatever it was you made that they want. And so I wouldn't advise doing that. But anyway, do your homework to think about that. You're probably not going to be paid for your time to go there and spend a day. Some of these craft shows now are going 2 or 3 days over a weekend. You've got meals out also. Maybe you're buying from the vendors, your coffees. All those kinds of things really add up. So let me now talk about also your setup. Now, maybe you already have your tables, your tablecloths, your lighting. Maybe you have all of that. But if you don't, you've got to go out and you've got to buy that to make it function. So just like any business, you have startup costs to be able to run your business. Now you can, when you're doing your taxes, you can spread that out over the year. You can, claim some of that on your taxes, your telephone, your mileage, all those kinds of things, if you have a business license. Now, let me tell you about that. That varies from state to state, but I think in my state, which is Washington, I believe that it used to be, don't quote me on this, but it used to be that you could make $600 without having to have a taxable income. But if not, you had to have a business license. Some of your large shows require that. I would suggest doing that if you're actually serious about having a craft business. But you do have to pay tax. You have to pay sales tax in some states. And that is, something that you can incorporate in your price, or you can charge extra to your customer based on the percentage of the city that you are in. So for example, maybe you live in a city where it's 8.7% tax, but you've moved down the road a half hour and you are in a location that charges 8.9% tax. You need to pay the tax where you collected in that city, which would be the 8.9%. So, and then just keep track of it. You can keep track of business and expenses on QuickBooks instead of, having an accountant. But if it gets too big, or you got a husband or a son or something that's really good at it, pay him a couple of bucks and consider that in your expenses. Okay. So now, assuming you're getting ready for the show, you got it all together, you've done your math, and you are a great, great artist. You know how to craft and sew and quilt or whatever it is you're bringing to your show. But oftentimes I find, like I had back in the 90s, a little business where I represented 26 crafters and I took their wares into home parties and I sold them. And it was such a good plan. It was just a really good, it was a party plan. But you know, what was really good about it was that I knew how to price and I had these wonderful, wonderful crafters, but they didn't have a clue how to price anything. So let me give you an example of that just real quickly here. So say that you have $10 into something. Let me give you an example. I brought two samples here. Let's see. Oh, let me reach for it. I should have had it. Hopefully you can see this little dress. It's made out of a towel. My friend made it. Okay. And so she's got fabric and she's got the towel and some ribbon there. And so just for example, say that after she bought her towel and she had that bit of fabric and everything, the hanger her husband made, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But she's got $10 into this. Okay, this isn't considering her labor, her time, or anything else. You're not going to get paid for that. That's going to be really hard unless you're a fine artist. And even then it's hard to pull a per hour rate. So if you sit back and say, I'm worth, $30 an hour, I'm, worth this or that, or I'm at least worth the minimum wage, sometimes you can't even get the minimum wage out of it. I mean, to be very honest with you, but back to this little towel effort. So say it was $10. I know this is going to sound extreme to you, but there's a reason for it. I want you to multiply that times 4. Any item you're looking at, whether it's a greeting card, a piece of jewelry, it's a quilt, whatever, you're going to look at your supplies and you're going to multiply that by 4. So in reality, $10 into supplies multiplied by 4 is going to be $40. Is she going to get $40 out of that little terry cloth towel, as cute as it is? No. So then we could take it down to 3 times. 30, 2 times 20. Is she going to get 20? I believe she charges 15 to 18 for those. So we know right away she's getting 0 for her time, right? Very, very little for her time. And now if she's traveled out of town or there's a fee on the booth, you can expect fees. I asked my friend the other day, I haven't done a craft show for a little while, but she said they're at least like 50 to 80 bucks and up, depending on the size of the booth. Here's another example. This is a picture I painted many years ago. Okay. It's just in a cheap little plastic frame because I have it in my house. I don't intend to sell it. So anyway, I did this painting. It was one of my first paintings that I did. And the cost is a cheap frame and canvas, right? So, you're looking, I probably even, $2 and then the canvas, maybe another $2. So maybe $4 is all I have in it. So you're going to multiply that, right? So $4, and you got to look at that and say, 4 times 4. 4 times 4. Can I get 16 bucks out of it? I think I can, right? 16 bucks is a pretty good deal for that picture. Yes, I'm an amateur. I'm not a professional, but 16 bucks, if you wanted this picture, would be an absolute steal. First of all, if I was going to sell it, I'd have a better frame and I would have it behind glass. It would be different, right? But say it was just like it is right now. $16? Well, yeah. And you know what? I can look at that item and I can go, you know what? I can charge more for that. I can now get some of my time out of that and say my time, I'm going to say an average of $25, right? plus 16, I can pull $40 out of that. And I wouldn't sell it for anything less because my art and the time that it took, my talents and my gifts to paint this beautiful picture was well worth $25. And it took me probably about 2 to 3 hours to paint it. So you're still not, like I just proved to you, you're not really getting your time out of it. So to do crafts, you have to enjoy it. But what you really have to look at is the cost you're going to do for that craft sale. Am I a fan? I'm a fan of going to them. Have I made money? Yes. I've always made money. I've never lost money going to a craft sale per se where I didn't sell anything or I sold so little that it didn't cover my rent, my gas, and such. But you want to really think about that. You also have a couple of questions to ask the people that are doing the show. Are they advertising? Do they have a mailing list? Can you put your business cards out? Is there a percentage? Like one show that I did, what did they charge? They charged $80, and then what did I have to do? I think it was 20% that I had to give back to them. It was a charity event, and I willingly did that, and I knew it. But make sure that you've got that all down. And if they ask you to sign a contract, get some other eyeballs on it. I just can't stress this enough. Get your husband, your friend, your lawyer, your whoever. I know it sounds kind of silly, but get some other eyeballs on that to make sure that you're not liable. Follow the rules. Park where they say to park. Be ready. Do not leave a show early. You will not be invited back. There's nothing worse than having a show and everybody's, supposed to be there till 5 o'clock, and you decide to jet out because you've got some other obligation or you're bored or tired or whatever it is, and you leave at 3:30, leaving this empty spot in their show. Oh, never, never do it. Also, shouldn't need to say this, but clean up after yourself. Put your garbage away. Thank your host or hostess, whether it's a church, a rummage sale, it doesn't matter. Go and give them a thank you and tell them, this was a wonderful show. I really enjoyed it, and I would love if you would consider me again. That's how you get a good reputation being a crafter. That's how you get back into that show. And that's because some of the shows are juried. You got to go in front of some people, and that's not easy because they sit there and analyze whether your item is, fits their show. And I'm all for that. I mean, I am all for that, but I don't always think it's necessary either, because I think art is a beautiful thing, no matter if it's a child making bracelets or if you have an accomplished, painter or metal worker or whatever it is they're doing. Let's let everybody have a shot in the world, because all we're really doing is we're going out and showing people our gifts and our talents and, trying to sell some of that to make maybe a living, or maybe it's a hobby business. And, I had a year when my accountant looked at my little craft business, and you know what? He said to me, Jacqueline, you've got a hobby business. You have made money, but you have a hobby business. It's not, it's not going to send you off to Las Vegas for even a weekend. Really. I mean, you've got really a hobby going, and so you have to consider that. And it's okay to sign up and say, I just want a hobby business. I just want to make macrame. I just want to make lampshades. I just want to make greeting cards or baby quilts. And it's just a hobby. Or you can approach it and say, this is a business. I am making the dog sweaters, the baby quilts. I'm making leather belts, whatever it is you're making. So those are a few tips. And the last thing I have to say today is, if you cannot afford to do a craft sale, there's none in your town. Sometimes we live out of town and we have to travel a long ways to get to a craft show. You can have a barn sale. You can have a garage sale and set up your table of crafts. Do not discount yourself and be giving crafts away for 25 cents in a garage sale. Let it be known that this is a portion of your life that is a quality portion. These are not garage sale prices. And go ahead and do that. Get your neighborhood together and say, hey, Do you want to do this? I'm a teacher and a host in a craft group, and we could gather together as the whole Squirrel's Nest and go and do a show together and divide that whole cost. You got to think outside the box. If your friend's having a garage sale, say, hey, can I come along and can I set up a card table? Remember, it doesn't have to be big and it doesn't have to be little. It just has to be exactly how you want it. Coming to you on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please tell your friends about me. I'm trying to gain subscribers. It's free. I'm on my way. Love what I'm doing, having the time of my life. I encourage, if you would like to start a YouTube channel, think about it. It's actually a heck of a lot of fun. See you next time. My next video will be on Mother's Day. We're making some greeting cards, something special. See you then.